What's going on, boys? In this video, I'm going to give you guys the best first date locations that are low investment and high ROI. Now, the inspiration for this video was a reel I made on Instagram. So it got a little bit of traction, right? 17K views. And basically, I broke down how a lot of rich men think that the way to win a woman over, so to say, is by spending hundreds of dollars on dinner dates or fancy experiences on the first date, right? When in reality, women just care more about your character, your masculine frame, your ability to lead her, your ability to charm her and actually speak to her, right? And, the majority of women and men actually agreed with me in this reel. And if you guys want to check it out, make sure to follow me on Instagram. Post daily reels on there, right? Daily value. But a lot of people agreed with me, including women. But then there was a few gold diggers in the comments that left comments like this. So she said, no, the man that spend the most money is the man that wins her. And if you take a look at this girl's page, plastic surgery, trips all around the world. She's Mrs. Worldwide, right? Taking pics in front of the Burj Khalifa, the Eiffel Tower. And it's pretty obvious that it's men funding this lifestyle for her, right? So of course she's going to say this because she wants to keep up with her lifestyle. But if you're a man who's sick of spending your hard-earned money and your time going out with these women, spending all your resources, your time and your money to go out with them only to never hear from them again, or you just keep funding this lifestyle and getting nothing in return, then this video is for you. This video is going to break down the entire process of how to set up first dates that are low investment and high ROI. Now, before I give you guys the actual locations, you got to keep in mind the point of the first date. And that's simply to get to know her and to escalate, right? Number one, to get to know her. Right? You want to know, is this woman even worth your time? Is she worth you dating? Is she worth you investing in her in the long term? Right? Is she worth you spending your time with? Right? You're a busy man. You have shit going on. You have your business going on. You have your career going on. Your time is valuable. Do you actually like this girl? And a lot of guys forget that that's the whole point of the first date, to see if you actually like them, right? When you have an interview for a job, you're hiring somebody. You're not just gonna, take anybody that comes in for an interview, right? You're gonna interview them to see if they're actually a good candidate to bring on to the job. And it's the same thing with first dates. You're basically seeking out, is this woman a good addition to my life, or she's just gonna distract me, right? So to get to know her and then escalate. If your intentions are to escalate on the first date, aka, bring her back to your place, sleep with her, or whatever you're trying to do, then that's the point of the first date for you. Some of you guys, you may not care about that, right? Some of you guys may be okay with, playing it slow and steady, having that slow burn, and that's fine, right? But I want to give you guys the best locations that will help you get to know her and escalate, if those are your intentions. So, first things first, you have to avoid these dates right here. These are the 3 worst dates that you can take a woman on. Number 1, starting off on the left, is a dinner date. A fancy dinner date where you're spending like $200 per person. Where you're spending like $200 per person, you get that steak, you get that wine, you're getting appetizers. It's just too much investment, right? Too much investment for the first time, right? Because you never know, you might not even like her. You may never see this girl again. You're spending $200 per person on this date, and you never know if you're going to see them again. Now, to some of you guys, this may be not a lot of money. But at the end of the day, you had to work for that money, right? And even if it's not a lot of money for you, it adds too much pressure, right? Because this tells her that, okay, she's going to feel pressurized, right? You're sitting across from each other. It gives off this interview vibe right away, right? You're literally sitting across from her like you're about to interview her. which I know I said the point of the date is to kind of interview her, but you don't want it to come off as an interview, right? So it gives her too much pressure. And a lot of women would say that, oh, if he takes me out to a fancy first date, right, that I feel pressured to sleep with this man, right, to go home with him. It's like, what does he expect? What does he expect out of this date? And the fact that you're investing so much up front, it's like you expect a return on your investment, right? You wouldn't put a whole bunch of money into a stock just for it to do nothing, right? You're going to expect a return on your investment. And it's the same thing with this. And another reason why I wouldn't recommend the fancy dinner date is because you can barely even speak to her. Like when you're sitting across from her, most of the time you're literally going to be eating your food, right? And I've literally heard about guys who they would take women out, pay for their steak, the mac and cheese, the potatoes, right, the asparagus, and she would just eat the food the entire time, ask for leftovers, and then just leave at the end of it. Be like, hey, thanks for the meal, I'm out, right? How many times does that happen to you? How many times have women just ate the meal that you got for them, and then nothing really happened from that situation, right? She didn't even text you back after the day, didn't even thank you for the meal, right? How many times has that happened to you? That's why you always want to avoid fancy dinner dates for the first date, whether you have the money or not, right? Number two is there's like two extremes. They either think that they have to woo the woman over with all this money, or they think that, oh, let me go super cheap and let me do a coffee date, right? Now, the problem with a coffee date is simply that it's too platonic. Most of the time, you're doing a coffee date, you're in a cafe in like the middle of the day, right? It's bright outside. You got people working from their laptops at the cafe. It's a hard place to actually escalate. It's a hard place to get intimate with the woman, right? And that's why it's a bad first date spot, because first date, you want to escalate, right? And it should have an intimate environment, right? When you do a coffee date like that, you're automatically just putting yourself inside of the friend zone. Simple as that, right? Coffee is where you go out with your boys, like your friends. If you're trying to network with somebody, you might get a coffee, but not a woman that you're trying to seduce. You understand? Now, there is a way of implementing the coffee into the date that I'm going to get into later, but just sitting down at a cafe across from each other and drinking coffee is way too platonic, so avoid at all costs. And then last, some of you guys are probably guilty of this, doing some sort of fancy luxury experience on the first date. I'm talking helicopter rides. I'm talking some of you guys, I know you guys be flying women out, right? You do some sort of fancy experiences. Like, bro, you watched too many movies, okay? She's not going to get wooed over by your helicopter ride. All this is going to do is, number one, once again, too much investment, okay? Number two, this is going to make you an easy target. She's going to appreciate this experience so much that she's going to keep you around and keep using you for these experiences. I'd much rather have you guys start off the relationship with a woman with something light and simple. Get to know her, make sure that she's actually a good woman, and then reward her for her good behavior with nice experiences. It's okay to spend money on women. It's okay to have good experiences. It's okay to do helicopter rides, but only once they deserve it. And if you give it to them right away, when they haven't shown you that they deserve it, because literally you haven't even met this girl, it just makes you come off as low value. You may be thinking, how is this low value? I'm literally spending hundreds, if not thousands, on this date. How is it low value? Well, simply because if you were someone of high value, if you had women, you had abundance of options, you wouldn't have to do such extravagant experiences just to win the woman over, so to say. So never do these luxury experiences as a first date, like your wallet. Bro, easy way to make yourself a target. Women will literally pretend to be everything that you always dreamed of, marry you, and then take half of your shit. This is how you make yourself a target, guys. By doing the fancy dinner dates, by doing the luxury experiences before you even truly know who the woman is. Now, let's talk about what the best date spots actually have in common. And that's simply, number one is the ability to escalate / break the touch barrier, right? Ideally, you want to be somewhere where you're close to her, right? You're not sitting, you don't have a desk in between you and her, like on a dinner date. You're not sitting across from her, you're sitting side by side, right? Or you're standing, walking side by side. This is going to make it easy for you to break the touch barrier because if you're looking to escalate, right? If you're looking to establish some sort of intimacy, some sort of sexual tension, you need to break that touch barrier. Even if you don't want to, sleep with this woman on the first date, you still need to break the touch barrier in order to establish the frame, right? Establish the fact that you are not here to be friends. You are not here to be in the friend zone. You are here to be intimate with her, right? You are here to be serious. You understand? So you must break the touch barrier and you have to pick locations that are going to make it easy to do so. Number two has to be low investment. Okay. Low investment is going to be different for different guys, but ideally I would say no more than $50 combined, you and her, for the first date, right? If you're really bowling like that, I would say don't spend more than $100 on the first date and that's your food or your drinks or, whatever you're doing. That's you and her combined in that total, right? So 50-50, right? Obviously you're paying for it, but low investment for the guys that don't make that much money, $50 maximum. You can literally get, 2 drinks each, depending where you're at. That's like $50-$60 right there, right? You're chilling. Okay, you're chilling. You don't need a lot of money, guys. This is going to allow you to date multiple women because it adds up. Even if $100 is not much for you, once you actually start implementing the dating strategies that I speak about on this channel, you're going to be getting 2 to 3 dates every single week, if not more, right? That's 200 to 300 every single week, if not more, right? And it will add up over time, especially if you're not actually getting anything out of it, right? If you're just going on dates and then they ghost you afterwards, right? So you must keep it low investment. Number 3 is you want to be able to curate an experience through your charm and your aura. Now, all this means is that when you guys spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on luxury experiences, you're trying to provide an experience. What all an experience is spiking up her emotions, getting her emotionally involved. But this is the whole point, that you can do the same thing without actually spending money. If you have enough charm, you have a great personality, you have humor, you have the ability to engage her emotions in the right way, you can literally give her an experience worth a $20 date. Guys, this is why broke guys get some of the most women. Because they may not have the money, but they have developed other characteristics like their charm, like their charisma, right? Like their just ability to be able to speak and hold frame with a woman. And that's what actually gets them emotionally driven and it gets them interested and attracted to you. So this is going to come over time, right? If you're someone who is more on the socially awkward side, you're just going to have to practice this. You're going to have to speak to more people, speak to more women, right? Go out every single day, just speak to strangers and actually speak to women with intention. Don't just speak to them, but, try to flirt with them in a way too, right? Try to engage in their emotions. And over time, you will get better with this. It's just that you've been relying on your money so much that you haven't had to use your charm or your aura, so to say. But once you stop relying on the money aspect, you'll quickly learn how to actually engage her emotions naturally, right? And then last but not least, the best first date spots are usually in an intimate environment, right? This means like low lights, right? Not too many people, right? Not too many people around you. You could just have that solo moment with you and the woman. That's the whole point. Because she's not going to feel comfortable enough to really get out of her shell or to break the touch barrier with you, to kiss you or whatever you're trying to do. If there's people around, it's too high pressure, bright lights, like it's just not a seductive environment. You got to make sure the environment is seductive. Okay, so now let's get into the best first date locations. These three are the best. Okay, starting off with the left, which is a lounge. Okay, a lounge or a bar. I like lounges because they have the nice, comfortable couches. You could just sit back, relax. There's usually not too many people. The music is always good. It's usually some sort of jazz, some sort of relaxing music to get you in that mood, right? It's romantic and it's seductive. Super seductive, right? You're sitting side by side with this woman. You're enjoying drinks. You're dressed up nice, right? She's wearing that dress you told her to wear. Lights are low, right? You're having a drink. This is an intimate environment. And this makes it so easy to escalate or break that touch barrier. Like, look how close they are. You literally can break touch barrier so easy when you're at a lounge. You understand? So easy. Okay? It's also low pressure. You guys are just sitting on the couch getting drinks. Even though she's not the one paying for a dinner date, she still feels pressured because she's like, oh wow, I'm going out on this dinner date. Like, oh, I hope he doesn't expect me to sleep with him, right? When women feel like you expect them to sleep with you, you expect them to do something with you, that's anti-seduction right there. That turns them off, right? They may come into the date with the idea, with the thought in the back of their mind, like, yes, I want to sleep with him. But the fact that the date, the setup, the environment was just so high pressure, it completely turned her off. Versus here, it's super relaxed, super laid back. And she came into the date knowing that, hey, yeah, I would sleep with this guy. It's low pressure. She doesn't feel like she's being forced to do anything. And she feels like, yes, this is my choice. I'm going to go and do this, right? That's very, very important. And then easy to speak, right? Lounges usually have not too much, like the music isn't super loud. It's not super hype, right? It's a calm environment, right? And that's what's important because once again, point of the first date is to actually get to know her. If you're in a loud environment, like a club or some sort of restaurant with loud music, you can't hear her, right? You guys can't have a regular conversation. She can't hear like the vocal tone that you speak in, right? The seductive tone that you use. All of this is part of using that charm and that aura to seduce her. But you can't do that if she can't even hear you, right? So lounges is by far one of my favorite spots for the first date. Even if you guys don't drink, you could just get her a drink or just get soda, right? Get soda, get a sparkling water. The point of the date is to get to know her. And she knows this. She's trying to get to know you too. She's trying to make sure you're a cool guy, right? And so if a woman is truly interested in you, she wouldn't care where the date is because she just wants to get to know you more, right? But if a woman has all these requirements, oh, you have to spend this amount of money. Oh, no, I don't do bar dates. I don't do gym dates. I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't do Applebee's. She has all these high standards for where you can take her out on a first date. Bro, she has no interest in actually getting to know you as a man. She's just there for the experience or the meal, right? So beware. Second spot is just some sort of activity. So I put pool here and the gym because these are some of my favorite activities to go out on first dates with. Pool is very good because usually when they have a pool table, they also have drinks. So it's like 2 in 1. You can sit back at the lounge, have a drink, and then go and play pool. The reason why activity dates are so good is because they allow you to show off your leadership abilities. If you're good at playing pool, you can literally, just like this guy is doing right here, show her how to play. Easily right here, automatically, he's breaking the touch barrier. Over here, this guy is spotting her. breaking the touch barrier. This is why I love activity-based dates, right? But not you got to be careful with what type of activity you choose, because if it's like a activity that's too high pressure, like for example, what's a high pressure activity? Let's say even like rollerblading. Rollerblading, I wouldn't do that. Number one, I'm not good at rollerblading, so I wouldn't choose an activity that I'm not good at. And number two, it's like you guys are gonna be rollerblading. You can't really speak to her. You can't really lead her much, right? It's just too much going on, right? But this is like even in the gym, right? Obviously, the gym it's not that much of an intimate environment in the gym. But if you're a guy who's in shape, you know how to work out, you instantly have status in that gym. Especially if you bring her to your gym where everybody knows your name, you got friends there, right? This is a great first date. Guys, I'm jacked. I love to bring one of my first date spots used to always be the gym, right? Now I kind of chilled back on it just because the gym is kind of like my private spot now. But I used to do this all the time and it would always be amazing, right? You get to spot her, lead her through the workout, right? Easy, right? And you get to know her personality, because if you can't even do like an activity with this woman for what, 1 hour, 2 hours max, you can't even have a good time with her, then is this really a woman that you want to spend time with? Is this really a woman you want to date for long term? Make it make sense, right? So you actually get to know who this woman is, right? Does she have a sense of humor, right? What type of, like, just how does she act? You understand? And it's very easy to engage her emotions on these dates, right? On these activity dates. Because, like, you see these guys, they're having a good time, right? You're working out. Like, you could just engage their emotions. She's working out, she's getting sweaty, it's intimate in that way, right? You can make her laugh. It's like so much more to work off of versus just like, oh, you guys are sitting at a dinner, focused on eating food whilst trying to speak. It's like it's hard to engage her emotions through just conversation, right? So activity-based dates, just make sure that it's an activity that you're good at and it's one that's not too high pressure, right? So you can lead her properly. And then last but certainly not least, the most low investment one, and by probably the best one out of all of these, is just a simple walk in the park. Yes, a walk in the park. Guess what, guys? I've been with women who guys have taken them to helicopter rides, guys have spent bags on them, right? Just to get nothing out of the situation. Those same women would go get a bagel with me and walk in the park and then sleep with me after. Low investment. It's $15. This is where coffee can come into play. You guys can just get a coffee. If it's daytime, if it's nighttime, get a coffee and then walk in the park, right? That's why I say it's a great second location, right? So even with the drinks, you can get a drink or you could do an activity and then go walk in the park. The reason why is because a walk in the park is just so simple. And in the park, especially if it's like a nice park, like I have a really nice park by me, and it's just primal, right? You got trees, you got animals, you got nature around you. Subconsciously, it puts you and her in your primal state. It puts you in that masculine position, puts her in her feminine position, right? It unlocks her primal desire, which is very important in seduction, right? It's easy to speak, right? It's not loud in the park. You understand? You're not going to a playground, you're going to a park, right? And you guys get to be alone, right? So much space. You guys can literally get it on in the park if you really wanted to, right? And you have a lot of alone time. And so it's also low pressure, right? She's just like, oh, we're on a walk in the park. And it's not, you may think that this is platonic, but it's not, right? Because especially if you're walking like this, right? You got your arm around her, easy way. You're walking the park, Put your arm around her. Show her that you will protect her. Show her that you will lead her. Show her, oh yeah, I know my way around this park. Yeah, there's a nice quiet area over here. Let's go over there, drink our coffee, sit down and chat. Boom. Easy. Easy, guys. These 3 spots are all you need. All you need. And wherever you are in the world, I bet you have a lounge or a bar by you, right? Preferably a lounge. You have some sort of pool spot. You have a gym. And you have a park. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse for why you guys are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on women like this. The real Barbie honey, right? Full of plastic surgery and makeup, right? Who's just going to use multiple guys for their resources, for their time. And then what? They never get what they want out of the situation. And that's the whole point that you're dating, right? To find a woman that matches your preferences, that matches your standards, right? So you must act like a man with standards as well, right? And once again, always keep this in mind. If she's not down to do any of these locations, if she comes up with these crazy high standards or any standards, then simply cancel the date. You don't go out with them, right? Save yourself the time, because I'm telling you right now, that's not the woman for you. I don't care how feminine she may seem. I don't care how good you think she looks. That's not the woman for you. Save your time, save your money, go out with someone who is actually down to get to know you for who you are, no matter the location, right? And another point I want to make is that I wouldn't recommend inviting them straight over to the house, simply because if you're a successful guy, you have too much to lose, right? The same way that they need to make sure you're not a serial killer, you got to make sure that these women are not trying to set you up. They may know that you have money, depending on the way that, you presenting yourself online. You have pictures on your dating apps. So they may already know that you probably have some sort of money. And a lot of times, women will try to set you up, right? The women that go straight over to the house, these are low quality women most of the time, right? But with any 3 of these locations, you can easily, if they're 10 minute, 15 minute away from your house, you can easily escalate and then bring her back to your place. Once you actually know that she's a safe option, right? Once you know that this woman isn't crazy, isn't going to set you up, right? And that you guys actually have some sort of chemistry. That's the most important part. So if you guys want my personal help with this, creating a dating strategy for you where you guys don't have to invest a lot, right? You literally have matches and women ready to go out with you on autopilot. So you could basically sit back, let the woman come to you, and pick and choose out of the most high interest and attractive women that are reaching out to you, going out on dates, low investment, and basically have a dating life on autopilot. If you want my help with this, guiding you every step of the way, this is exactly what I help my clients with. So if you're ready to take this to the next level, and what I covered in this video, this is just surface level. We get in way more detail with my clients, and I create a custom tailored plan, hold them accountable to it every single day. If you want something like that, something that will take you to that next level, and you're ready to invest in yourself, click the link in my description to book a one-on-one call with me. It's a free call just to figure out your situation and whether or not I can actually help you, and we'll decide if it makes sense for us to work together. But make sure to like, subscribe if you found this video valuable. Check out the Instagram because I'm always posting value on there as well. And I'll see you boys in the next one. Stay dangerous.